So, this is week 3 predictions for the 2024 NFL season. This is going to be the prediction of which games are the featured games, like for the CBS single window, and what games are the predicted Fox early and Fox late window games. Week 2 just came out. It comes out Wednesdays. And it tells you the simulcast. Like, obviously, New England at New York at NY Jets. New York, which is NY. New York. It's NY Jets. On Amazon, that's going to be simulcast. You just don't know what channels that'll be simulcast unless you go on your local TV provider and look up your Fox, your CBS, your NBC, your ABC, your CW affiliates, maybe your independent channels. You actually look at their TV schedule guides on their websites because they have it posted like week or two in advance on the official website of those shows. And they have it posted usually like a couple weeks in advance. The TV schedules, for what's on. And then, Kansas City, Atlanta on NBC Sunday night, and Washington, the second Monday night game, Washington at Cincinnati on ABC. Those are already over the air. So they part of the Sunday night football package and part of the Monday night football, where sometimes they do 2 games for Monday night footballs. They do a few times. They do 2 games, not all the time. Do they do 2 Monday night football games? But every now and then they have tested. They've done 2 Monday night footballs every now and then. Done 2 Monday night footballs. Like they're only doing like maybe 3 minute. Like I see like 2 or 3 weeks of Monday night footballs a year, where they do like the double casts. I think one year they did like 2, but they like spread out throughout the year, 2 or 3. So they spread out sometimes, or they do it like in a row. They test out like maybe one. They'll test out like they'll have like the ABC game be earlier than the ESPN game, and then they'll have the ESPN game be earlier than the ABC game. They're testing it out, testing different things out. Maybe they'll test to have games both at the same time. But the only thing is, when they have the ABC game, I don't know why, or the ESPN game, I don't know why they don't simulcast, like not simulcast, but like the other game. But then sometimes, like during the halftime of the first game, maybe just have like a very brief halftime, talk about it. Then, go into it, have a little bit of the second game, show the second game going on in progress, if there's no commercial, when there's commercial in the other game, you can talk about it, the game, Then maybe, and then just show a little brief of the second game. I don't know. And then when the first game is done, you can just show the other game, the earlier game is done. It shows the later game until that game is done. I don't know. But yeah. But anyways, so Jacksonville at Buffalo has to be simulcast, though. But that's gonna be a good game. Jacksonville Buffalo. It's gonna be a better game than Washington Cincinnati on ABC. It will be. But whatever. I don't know. So, But then here's the prediction. So we have LA Chargers at there's CBS has the single window, which is the early window and the late window. So in this case is Jim Nantz is getting early game. And I could see LA Chargers at Pittsburgh getting a good swap of the country, because you get the West Coast. You get some of the West Coast, like California. You might get some Arizona, New England, or New Mexico, New Mexico area. That area. you might, you might, you know, and then, if there's teams on like, without like, LH, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say all the West Coast because you have Seattle, you have Las Vegas. So I mean, I would say probably, I could see maybe chunks of California, Oregon, maybe a little bit of Arizona, New Mexico in that area. Maybe get that game. And then you got the East Coast. You got Pennsylvania, probably gonna get that game. Pittsburgh. Maybe you got maybe you get a little bit of other areas like Ohio. Maybe I'm not for too certain, but maybe. I mean, there's not gonna be like a big swap for the country that gets that game. I mean, there could be like other areas like Iowa, like not I don't know Iowa, but maybe like Missouri. Maybe since Kansas City's not playing Sunday night, maybe you get like maybe you get like Louisiana, maybe Alabama, maybe areas like that don't have an NFL team. Maybe. But Houston, Minnesota could be actually a good big featured game as well. Because Houston could go and be 2-0 this week. Houston could be 2-0. Houston could. Because Houston is playing Chicago, so that's a winnable game in Sunday football. So that's a winnable game. So we could see two games. You could see Houston be 2-0, and you could maybe see Minnesota be 2-0 too. So I could see that where they end up pushing that as a featured game too. Maybe they share a chunk of the CBS single window for the early window. Maybe it's like 50-50 split. I could see that being 50-50 split though too. Maybe Iron Eagle, the game. They did get that game. They already announced. But the thing of it is they already announced the announced crews for 3 weeks of the season. The first 3 weeks of the season, CBS did. Fox hasn't really announced their announced crews yet, so I don't know. We'll see though. We will see how that goes, but Houston, Minnesota could get half the half of the early window, the areas that get their early window games for CBS. I could see Houston, Minnesota getting a chunk of that. Chicago and Indianapolis. I think Chicago might just get like Illinois, maybe all of Illinois, probably all of Indiana, maybe a tad of Iowa and Missouri and other states that get those channels. Get Indiana station or get Illinois station. Their area. Like Missouri, maybe Iowa, a tiny little bit of Iowa, a tiny little bit of Missouri. Maybe it stays in those two areas. Maybe there are chunks that get other chunks that get Chicago and Minneapolis, but I would assume those two for sure. Right. I'm not really too sure what else would. Maybe Kentucky. Maybe a little bit of Kentucky. Maybe some of Kentucky. Then we have Miami and Seattle. Miami and Seattle is going to get most of Florida, if not all of Florida. I could see all of Florida or most of Florida. And then you got probably a good obviously all Washington, maybe some of Arizona or Oregon. My bad. And then you got you probably got maybe Idaho, Wyoming, Montana in those states. Maybe I could see those states getting it, but I could also see those states getting early games. Maybe Colorado gets the Seattle game. Maybe, but I could also see those areas not getting it either though. And then we got Carolina, Las Vegas. Carolina is just gonna be South Dakota or South Carolina, not South Dakota. What I'm thinking, South Dakota, North Dakota is gonna be Minnesota. The Houston, Minnesota, Carolina, Las Vegas. Late, that's gonna be South Carolina, North Carolina. Maybe Virginia. Maybe a little bit of Virginia gets South Carolina, or gets the Carolina game. And then you got Las Vegas, basically like the Las Vegas area. And I could see all of Nevada getting that game. So Las Vegas area, maybe the Oakland area. I could see Oakland area in that game because they obviously used to be. Oakland used to have the Raiders. So, and then we got the Fox early and Fox late window. So we got 7 games on. And we got some heavy hitters, especially in the Fox late window. We got 3 heavy hitters. For the early window, there's mainly 1 big hitter. I mean, there could be 2 big hitters. There could be 2, I guess. Actually, let me see here. I'm not for sure. I can't remember or not if they did. No. Okay. So we could have. There's going to be 1 big hitter for sure, and that's going to be Philadelphia at New Orleans. New Orleans is 1-0. So is Philadelphia. Philadelphia and New Orleans are both 1-0. I could see Philadelphia easily going to 2-0 against Atlanta. And New Orleans, they play Dallas, so maybe they will stay 1-1. But I could see being a competitive 2-0 game. Or not, I don't know if Dallas or New Orleans necessarily wins, but they could go to 1-1 and be competitive in that game. But that's going to be the featured early window game. The late window game. And then we got Philadelphia and New Orleans probably going to take a big swap the country. But maybe in those, Florida gets the Tampa Bay game. Like the West Coast, maybe like Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, maybe New Mexico. You get the Denver game. New Mexico does. So we got, and then you got, and then you got, Ohio gets the Cleveland game. You got the New York area, maybe, New York. I could see, the Northeast gets that New York game. And then Pennsylvania will get the Philadelphia game. Pennsylvania will. I could see getting all the Philadelphia Eagles game. New Orleans, obviously all Louisiana. Maybe Arkansas, Alabama. That area, I could see that. So, you got Tennessee, Kentucky, I could see that. Green Bay game, you could see Minnesota again. Wisconsin, obviously all with most of Wisconsin that gets, and then Upper Michigan that gets the Green Bay games. But I could see all Michigan getting it. All Michigan now, because obviously Detroit doesn't play the late window. So you got a bunch of good hitters on. You got some games, there's not so the big swaps of the country. But then I could see, but it depends. I could see Fox. We'll see who Fox goes to. This Tom Brady. Does Kevin Burkhardt or Tom Brady go to Baltimore or Dallas? Or do they pick who do they choose to go to the second game? Do they choose their top 3 announced crews to go to for Fox to actually go to the late games? Because they're all heavy hitters. San Francisco LA Rams, that's a heavy hitter game. They almost beat Detroit Lions, and that's a good Detroit Lions team. And with the LA Rams, they're a good team. They were injured last season. Some McKee injuries, they're really good players. We got Detroit at Arizona. Detroit is a good team. Similar team as last season. No really changes. You got Arizona being a good squad this year. You got Arizona being a good squad this year. You got Kyler Murray back, and you pretty much got like a similar team from last season, a similar team, but you add Kyler Murray back, and just makes things a lot different. So they're all gonna be heavy hitters, but I'd say it's for the Arizona game. I'd see Detroit. I'd see Arizona, New Mexico. Get that game, and then you got Detroit area. You have Michigan, Wisconsin. I could see Illinois. No, maybe Iowa. I could see also Minnesota, Wisconsin. Get that game because it's in the NFC North territory area. I could see that. I could also see the LA Rams, San Francisco LA Rams. You could be California. I could see like the West Coast getting. I could see like maybe I could see Oregon. I could see for sure Oregon, for sure Washington. And then maybe what else? Washington. Maybe you get maybe you get Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, and those states. Maybe those states get in it. And then you got for sure, and then Baltimore, Dallas. I could see Baltimore, Dallas being the featured game, but it's not going to be the same featured swap though. That a huge like 100, like a big chunk of the country, and they minimally show the other games on. They might, but I know last time they had Detroit, Tampa Bay on. They had like 2-3 games on in the late window. Yeah, Detroit, Tampa Bay on. They moved that, I think, to the late window as well. Tampa Bay. I don't know why Tampa Bay. Maybe they're doing it so Miami, Jacksonville. So people fans of Miami, fans of Jacksonville, in those areas maybe can see them too. Without having an overlap. I don't know. I know that's Detroit, Arizona. I could see like Detroit, I don't know. I know Dallas will probably get most of the country. Baltimore and Dallas will, but it's not going to be like an overwhelming majority. Like maybe Baltimore, Dallas maybe picks up 50% of the country. Maybe picks up 50 to 6. Maybe picks up 50% of the country. Baltimore and Dallas does. I could see that where they pick up probably 50%, but the other 2 games they combine for 50% of the country. Too. So it's not for sure. And I don't know if it's for sure Tom Brady's going to Baltimore and Dallas. I would assume so, but not necessarily though. Baltimore's probably 1-1, and Dallas could be 2-0. Who do Dallas? Dallas plays New Orleans, so I mean New Orleans. I mean, I would would New Orleans, would Tom Brady really broadcast the Dallas? Would they really have Tom Brady broadcast the Dallas game 3 weeks in a row? Would they really? I mean, I don't know though. Broadcast 3 weeks in a row of Dallas games, like, maybe, but San Francisco and LA Rams. Detroit. I mean, there's maybe they mix up. Maybe they mix it up and go with San Francisco. Maybe they mix up and go with a different um announce crew. For the Dallas game. Maybe they do. You know. So we'll see. We will see. It's going to be interesting. What happens. You know. I mean, does Dallas and Baltimore and Dallas get the featured game slot? I mean, usually when they have West or East Coast teams, like Eastern Time Zone teams, not necessarily East Coast, but Eastern Time Zone teams and Central Time Zone teams that play at noon. And they're not play at noon Central, 1 Eastern. They're not the featured game. They're not like when they're mixed in with the CBS or Fox single windows or like the early window for the for Pacific Channel. So, and usually like those teams, usually like unless you're playing like Detroit, Arizona, or Arizona's the home team in the Mountain Time and Arizona time, and that they usually play at like usually like 2:25 or 1:25, or they play at like 2:05 or 1:05, and they're usually playing like the Mountain Time gets the odd time zone, because of the fact that especially in the Sunday games is because they play in the late window, but they don't play it like. But then I guess it's like college football time though for them. I guess the Mountain Time that would be so.